Hello Alexers, welcome back. When it comes to looking at some of the finest timepieces in the world, surely there's no time quite like the present. These high-end watches are each handcrafted, some by watchmakers that only make one watch an entire year. They are works of art, works of precision, and works of physics and engineering in perfect motion. However, the price tag on some of these masterpieces might make your heart stop. Welcome to alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Before we tick through our list of the top 10 most expensive watches in the world, we need to understand 3 quick terms that are important in watchmaking. Knowing these will set you apart as a discerning watch appreciator. Firstly, all high-end watches are mechanical. There are no batteries in them. They operate purely by a perfectly balanced spring creating the movement. These are wound by turning a small crown that sticks out the side of the watch. The more expensive watches need to be wound once a day. Secondly, watches have complications. A complication is a function of the face of the watch other than telling time. On top of watch models, these can be perpetual calendars, moon phases, planetary dials, or sunrise and sunset. These are all driven by carefully crafted and calculated mechanical innards. There's no computers in these watches. Lastly, there are 2 important complications that are most sought after with watch collectors. These will be referred to a lot on our list. Tourbillon is one of the most complicated mechanisms in horology. It reduces the negative effect that gravity has on timekeeping by balancing the balance wheel as the watch moves. The more advanced the watch, the more axes a tourbillon rotates on, the highest being 3 axes to offer perfect balance. But the repeater complication is what sets watches apart. It's a complicated and a precise piece of watchmaking engineering. The repeater allows a watch to chime the time, either on demand or at a set interval. In a time before electricity, this was extremely useful for knowing the time in the dark. But Alexers, before our time gets away from us, let's work our way down the list of the most expensive watches. Number 10. Vacheron Constantin 57260, $8 million. This timepiece isn't just gorgeous to look at. With a perfectly crafted white gold case, it's also from the house of the world's oldest watchmaker, Vacheron Constantin. The 57260 is also the most complex watch ever built. It contains 2,800 components that offer 57 distinctly available complications. For its $8 million price tag, you can enjoy a perpetual calendar and a double-second retrograde chronographer, just to name 2 complications. Number 9. Patek Philippe Ref 1518, $11.1 million. Taking a $3 million leap on the list brings us to the Patek Philippe Ref 1518. This piece was introduced in 1941 and remains the only perpetual Patek Philippe with a calendar split-second chronograph made of steel. The Ref 1518 brought with it a new season in watchmaking for Patek Philippe, who had been making watches since 1839. They remain one of the most expensive and luxurious watch brands in the world. King Farouk, the 10th ruler of Egypt, was a famous owner of a Ref 1518. He had the watch in 18-karat white gold. But timing is everything, so more on this model later. Keep watching to see how much this timepiece sold for in a charity auction in Geneva at Christie's. It came in at number 9 on the list, but is a real winner at the end of the day. Number 8. Paul Newman Rolex Daytona, $17.6 million. When most people think of expensive watches, Rolex often comes to mind, but this is actually the only Rolex that made our top 10 list of expensive watches, and the main value is because of who wore it. Paul Newman was once one of the biggest movie star celebrities in the world. While he was shooting the film Winning, his wife and famous actress Joanne Woodward gave him the 1986 Rolex Daytona. On October 26, 2017, Paul Newman's winning streak continued when his famous Rolex was auctioned at Phillips Auction House in New York. The bidding opened with an offer of $1 million, and 12 minutes later, the gavel went down on a winning bid of $17,752,500. The buyer was an anonymous phone bidder. The sale set a new record for the highest price ever achieved for a wristwatch at auction. Number 7. Jacob & Co. Billionaire Watch, $18 million. Now comes the real frosting. The billionaire watch is decorated with 260-carat emerald-cut diamonds. They are arranged in an inverse pyramid-style setting, with a bold cut enhancing the natural sparkle of the stones. This is complemented by an 18-carat white gold case. The perfectly crafted interior includes an escapement of tourbillon to compensate for each wrist movement to keep the time so precise, right down to a fraction of a hair. Number 6. Patek Philippe Henry Graves Super Complication, $24 million. This pocket watch was thanks to banker Henry Graves Jr., a watch lover who commissioned it to outshine the Grand Complication pocket watch of American automaker James Ward Packard. The competition was fierce, but for $24 million, he managed to procure a personalized timepiece with 24 complications. It included a celestial chart based on the night sky from Graves' home in New York City. It also included a minute repeater with Westminster chimes. It had a perpetual calendar and sunrise and sunset times. Now, Alexers, if you enjoy luxury brands like Patek Philippe, you'll love finding out about Montblanc. Be sure to watch our video all about them by clicking in the top right corner. Number 5. Chopard 201-carat watch, $25 million. What do you get if you add 15-carat pink diamonds, 12-carat blue diamonds, 11-carat white diamonds, and 163 carats of white and yellow diamonds to a watch? Other than a tired wrist, you'd get the second most expensive wristwatch for women. It's definitely a spectacle to behold, mirroring the sun right down to its diamond-encrusted face. Number 4. Jaeger-LeCoultre Joaillerie 101 Manchette, $26 million. Another glittering wonder is the 576 diamond and sapphire enriched Joaillerie 101 Manchette. It's a wristwatch fit for a queen, and that's exactly who it was created for. To celebrate her 60th anniversary, Queen Elizabeth received this $26 million gift from Jaeger-LeCoultre. It replicates the original that she wore on her coronation day that was gifted to her by the French president. It's unknown where that watch is located. The assembly of this watch, made by Jaeger-LeCoultre, is so specialized that only 3 people know how to do it, and the watch weighs less than a gram. The design is made up of rows of interlocking squares, which make it look like a frosted bracelet. It has a gray dial and a silver winding crown. The black sapphires give it a striking geometric contrast. The wow factor is inconceivable, but the how factor is unfathomable. Number 3. Breguet No. 160, $30 million. The Breguet No. 160 is a clockwork poem. The first verse of the beautiful pocket watch is a design in gold. The second verse, its intricate complications, a masterpiece including every function invented at the time, such as a perpetual calendar, a thermometer, and a repeat chime. The last verse, the time it took to complete, 45 years of toil by Abraham Louis Breguet, who started it in 1782 as a commission by Queen Marie Antoinette's lover. Tragically, it was not completed before revolutionaries put Marie Antoinette to death. On top of its tumultuous past and complicated complications, it's had a tough recent history. In 1983, when it was on display at a museum in Jerusalem, the watch was stolen. Luckily, it was recovered and is now back on display at the LA Mayer Museum in Jerusalem. Number 2. Graf Diamonds The Fascination, $40 million. Everyone loves a 2-for-1 deal, apparently even those in the market for the most expensive watches in the world. For $40 million, you get the option of a ring and a watch in one. This piece is made of 152 carats of white diamonds, and the piece de resistance is a 38-carat pear-shaped diamond in the center. The center diamond is a removable component which can be detached to be worn as a ring. The concept behind it was to show the results of the partnership between Graf's London-based diamond house and its Swiss watchmaking atelier. Although a pear-shaped diamond cut might seem a bit passé in current trend, owning the second most expensive watch in the world will never go out of fashion. Number 1. Graf Diamonds Hallucination, $55 million. It's hard to imagine just how much frosting $55 million can get you on a watch, but the hallucination makes the picture a whole lot clearer. This showstopper holds 110 carats of rare colored diamonds in a mosaic of different cuts and finishes embedded in the watch's strap. The layout is meticulously shaped to create a spectacular masterpiece that is bold and bright. With a face encrusted with expertly laid pink diamonds, the hallucination is a statement piece that has changed the face of watchmaking. It combines the rarest colors of diamonds, like the fancy light gray blue, fancy vivid yellow, fancy intense pink, fancy orange, fancy green, and fancy intense blue. These are all laid out side by side in various cuts, from pear, marquette, emerald, sparkling, and heart style, along with traditional round cuts. In 2020, it was valued at $55 million, topping our list of the most expensive watches in the world. And that's a wrap for today, A-Luxers. But of course, we have a question for you. What do you consider the best-looking watch on this list? Would you pay for looks or for features on a watch, now that you know how much value mechanisms carry in horology? Let us know in the comments. And for sticking with us until the end, you must be waiting for a bonus or something, right? Well, here it is. Paul Newman's Daytona that we told you about earlier sold in 2017 for $17 million, and it held the record for the most expensive wristwatch ever sold at auction until November 9, 2019. On this day, the hammer fell on the sale of a one-of-a-kind steel Patek Philippe Grandmaster Chime Ref 6300A010, and a new record was set. What created all the fuss was the watch was one of a kind, the only steel version of the Grandmaster Chime ever made. The watch is usually produced in rose or yellow gold. It boasts the title of Patek Philippe's most complicated wristwatch ever built, with 20 complications and a minute repeater that warranted 6 patents. The watch was designed and donated by Patek Philippe to fundraise for the Duchenne muscular dystrophy research. So how much did this wrist candy fetch? It broke the record for the most expensive wristwatch ever auctioned so far, closing at $31 million. Well, time's up, A-Luxers. Join us another time for more billionaire inspiration. Thank you for spending some time with us, A-Luxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question on our website, alux.com. Thank you for being an A-Luxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.